Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Today, I want to talk about what is our next step now that the Latin Mass has been restricted. It's going to vary by diocese. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the news items that took place, and so I'm just going to go down through it. And the first thing I want to say, a bunch of bishops they made a bunch of different statements. So people like Bishop Acula of Denver, even Bishop Strickland, they said I want to wait and see. They said nothing's going to change in this diocese until we get clarification in a few weeks from the Vatican. Okay, so, but then I also heard that a certain number of priests, and I don't know where they're from, United States, overseas, Europe, I don't know, but I heard a number of, there's several of them are preparing a dubia. And I said, well, in that case, nothing, we'll never receive clarification for this motu proprio, and which might actually be a good thing because the good bishops would implement it, just ignore it. Archbishop Cordileone, he said, no big deal, no Latin Mass. It doesn't affect my diocese. That's what he said. Um, so Cardinal O'Malley, he said he will not make changes to Latin Masses in his diocese until it's consulted with the USCCB. The next USCCB meeting is in November. And at that point, if this is even a topic, which it might not be, they're going to, I would expect that they would have a discussion about whether or not they want to have a discussion, draft a document in a few years, and so we won't have to worry about that. So a lot of people, a lot of dioceses, you won't have to worry about this too much. You won't have to be too concerned. Of course, the corrupt bishops like Bishop Anthony Taylor of Little Rock, Arkansas, shut down all Latin masses but FSSP, so that's horribly corrupt. And then, of course, overseas, this impacts outside the United States pretty significantly. Puerto Rico bishop prohibits all Latin masses. Lima, Peru, Latin Mass canceled. Diocese of Clifton and Bristol, England cancels Latin masses. These links are in the description. And the Bishop of Bristol, England, he had a Pride Mass, and he canceled the Latin Masses. So that kind of shows, what his religion is. Wichita Bishop cancels weekday Latin Masses. Okay, so we've seen it. It's really pathetic. And so what I want to do is I want to encourage you to watch a video. There's the link at the bottom of the description from a Catholic wife. She has a really good perspective on things, and I found myself agreeing with her several times during several points of her video. And what she discusses, and this is kind of getting into the bulk of the video, the topic of this video, is that she said she's going to discern what this means for her family, what they need to do next. And she said that because she's in Bishop Sticka's diocese, who, by the way, he's a loose cannon on Twitter, but I don't know that. I think he's actually pretty friendly towards traditionalists, so he's definitely a very strange character. But I think they had a diocesan Latin Mass in her diocese, and so she's going to figure out what to do. And that's the same for all of you, because I can't tell you what to do, because every diocese is going to be different. You could have Archbishop Cordileone, or you could have Bishop Taylor, or you could have someone even worse like Supich McElroy. I'd be very concerned about what's going to happen in those dioceses. But she said that she was considering a bunch of different options. You could stay where you're at. You can change rites. Well, she said switch rites, which you don't even have to switch rites. You can just go to a Byzantine church, and that's fine because you're Catholic. You have the sacraments, presumably, for those of you that are Catholic. And if you're not, you can get the sacraments in that rite. But you can just go to their liturgies. So there's no registration required, and you can petition Rome to switch rites if you really wanted to. That's if you want a sacrament in the Byzantine rite, but you already had sacraments in the Roman rite, you would probably need to petition Rome to switch rites. But that's not necessary in most cases. You can just go to the Byzantine Divine Liturgy. And I know people that have left Roman Catholic churches because they were repulsed by the shenanigans going on in Novus Ordo parishes, and they found a home there. And I don't even know if they're fully Byzantine or not. But another option she considered was moving to a community, a Latin Mass community, and there's one like St. Mary's, Kansas, that's an SSPX community. And so the options that we have, we just need to take a look at the Eastern churches. And I think it doesn't hurt to go to these churches. It doesn't hurt to network with these people, make some friends there, because I think we need all the support and all the community we can get right now, especially among Catholics. Um, so if you have a Byzantine Rite church, if you have a Maronite Rite, go there. If you're close to an SSPX parish network with them, and what about the Anglican Ordinariate? That's not very common, but I actually don't know much about the Anglican Ordinariate. I hope to do some research later on into them, but that might come later. I don't know. We'll see how my schedule works out. And so that's that. We need to network with these people. Now, I have a bunch of thoughts running through my head of what to do. And like I said, this one situation doesn't fit everyone. But you can also consider moving. If that's not necessarily something you want to do, then you need to work with your community. And there's a few things going on right now. Now the stock market, it dropped today. And the reason I say that is because there's fears over a new virus shutdown. And so we don't know how that's going to work. The city of Los Angeles required people to wear things over their faces again today, and it might be coming to a place near you. Now, like Florida and Texas, I wouldn't worry about that. So it will be even more political this time if it does start spreading. But it's also possible that we could see not just Latin masses shut down, but all masses shut down, in particular dioceses. I don't think a lot of bishops are going to do this again, so don't go all crazy on me, and don't panic. That's just my expectations. Of course, I've been wrong. I've been wrong many times, especially concerning recent events. I was telling people not to be a chicken little trad, and here you go. Some of you might have lost the Latin Mass. So, you can listen to me however you want. But so I think we also need to prepare for the possibility of churches, public masses being shut down. And whenever that's the case, that's whenever you talk about masses in a barn or masses in someone's private chapel or someone's basement or whatever. And by doing that, we need to really network with priests. We need to ask them tough questions. We need to, we need to ask them, what will you do if there's another shutdown? Will you say a public mass? Will you come to my house and say a secret mass? See where they're at. You can ask them very specific questions. It's kind of awkward, I'll admit it, but they're going to answer you, and you're just a person who wants to live your Catholic faith. And the priests are the only ones who can say the mass. So you say, okay, you're a priest, I'm a lay person, I can't say a mass, and I want a mass if these things happen. Or if the Latin Mass is completely banned, what will you do? Will you never say the Latin Mass, or will you say a secret mass for us? They could put their priesthood at risk. And so I would imagine that a lot of priests, especially the ones that say both the Latin Mass and Novus Ordo, I would imagine that they will not. But it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to let them know, hey, like, we have this private chapel, or we have someone who volunteered to use their basement for private masses if it worst comes to worst. All this stuff. And I think, and here's one idea that I have. If your Latin Mass has been canceled, or if you want to have a Latin Mass at a specific time, and this is what I've done. And so I just kind of want to encourage you to do this as well. And I say we are the laity and we will not be silent. Well, we're going to have to, you know, we're going to have to fight this fight ourselves. We're going to have to lead this fight. And we can't necessarily rely on the priests. I mean, they can, some of them will step up, some of them are going to wait for lay people to take the lead. So, what I've done is I've started a local prayer group where we pray the Latin Rosary every first Friday in the evenings. And what you can do is organize this group, and maybe it might be you and two other people. Who cares? You have this group, and you're going to pray the Latin Rosary every so often, or you could ask the priest. So if you had a weekday Latin Mass canceled because of this, because your bishop's corrupt, then you could ask your priest, hey, let's have an hour of adoration and benediction at the end, traditional benediction. Most of the prayers are in Latin. And well, a lot of benediction, most of the prayers are in Latin, even in Novus Ordo churches, like the songs, Tantum Ergo, O Salutaris Hostia. Those songs are in Latin already. So you already have the traditions of the church, what they're trying to stomp out. And but anyway, you can form these groups, and you can ask the priest if you can use their parish, especially for inclement weather, which I think a lot of priests would certainly accommodate you based on their availability. And you can do this monthly, and you can show that the laity still have faith, and you can demonstrate to the priest that you have a solid group of people who want the traditions of the Catholic faith. And tradition is not coming back to the diocese. Well, I don't know. It really takes the faith of the people. I think that there are good bishops out there, so it really depends on your bishop. So I don't know. I think that's pretty much what I have to say. If any of you have any suggestions of what to do, and there was one last thing I wanted to say, and that is that people, and I got this tweet kind of took off a little bit on Twitter. I posted a tweet yesterday where I said that some people say that these types of restrictions will help the Novus Ordo to become more reverent, because the traditional priests are going to be saying more reverent Novus Ordos. And I said that's not going to be the case, because the corruption network who formulated this document, they're the ones who want to stomp out tradition. And so if you use traditional elements for your reverent Novus Ordo, they want to stomp that out too. They don't want the ad orientem. They don't want the order rails. They don't want communion on the tongue. So I don't think it will make a more reverent Novus Ordo. I think it's just going to create even more conflict, and it's going to force good priests to say the balloon mass. And I see occupy diocesan churches and depose the bishop. Well, that's going to be really tough. But what will depose the bishop is people not showing up for mass because they're not inspired by it. But no, I think the whole point here is like the whole point of Pope Francis, promulgating this motu proprio. He says division. The Latin Mass is causing division. Well, do you really think that there's unity with worshiping a pagan idol of Pachamama? Here we go. Patty even just said this. They want Pachamama services. Yeah. Do you really think there's unity in the pagan idol? I was just reading the Bible, the Old Testament, and when in Deuteronomy, when God was telling Moses what to do with the pagan idolaters, what he told him to do? Stone them. Stone them to death. Yeah, that was the point. And speaking of death, I mean, capital punishment. You think there's unity with Pope Francis's view on capital punishment, where he opposes all of Catholic tradition and says, well, this is the new Catholic. Do you think there's unity with Amoris Laetitia, where Pope Francis directly opposes the words of Jesus? And so I think rather than unity, we need to have the Catholic faith. And if the bishops don't like that, then that's too bad because, we're the laity. Anyway, there was another news point. The Bishop of Las Cruces, New Mexico, um, Bishop Peter Baldacchino, I think that's how you say his name. Don't quote me on that. But he instructed his priests to deny communion to a pro-abortion politician. So congratulations to him for standing up to the Catholic, for standing up for the Catholic faith, for standing up to the corrupt politicians who feel like they're entitled to everything. They're entitled to their mortal sin. And this bishop, he came from, he was an auxiliary in the Diocese of Miami under the biker Archbiker Bishop Wensky. He rides a motorcycle, but this bishop, Bishop Baldacchino, I don't think I'm saying that right, but don't quote me on that name, that pronunciation. He actually was ordained a priest by McCarrick, and so you can see that you can have some good come out of something really bad, and by him denying communion to this pro-abortion politician in a diocese in the middle of nowhere, that's fantastic. And so I think that we also need to work with our bishops if they are good bishops. If we can work with some of them. It's not completely hopeless unless you're in Chicago or Newark, New Jersey, or Washington D.C. or San Diego, or one of these dioceses where the bishop's completely corrupt, sold out on the rainbow agenda, and the modernist nonsense. But there are a lot of places where we can work with our bishops. So it's really regional. You know what you need in your community. Let's step up. Let's be the laity. When I say we will not be silent, we won't. We need to step up and do something in our local community. So thank you so much for watching. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.